Hello there and welcome. For those of you new here, I want to just introduce myself really quick. My name is Alexandra Danieli and I'm the admin and organizer of this group. I'm also a certified holistic health coach and a certified gut health specialist, and also the founder of my company, The Conscious Gut, where we help people overcome gut health issues once and for all, so that you don't need to run around anymore and try out things. So today I want to talk to you about antibiotics and why they are so dangerous and harmful and what they can do in your gut in order to create long-term issues. And let me just see. All right. Yeah, all's good. So bacteria in your body are normal. Bacteria on your skin are normal. By the end of this video, you'll have a much better overview of how bacteria interact and why they are necessary, and also why they are harmful. And you will also know why antibiotics should only be a last resort. So usually when you have an infection in the body, your body can take care of it itself. And a lot of the times we go to the doctor and the doctor will prescribe an antibiotic because they want to prevent that things get worse. But what oftentimes happens is when you take an antibiotic, you also take the chance away from your body to deal with it itself. When you take an antibiotic, is you're nuking out bacteria in your body, but by doing it this way, it's a very nuclear interaction, so that you can actually have the bacteria who are dying are going to, while they're in the process of dying, they pass along the information how to not die by this antibiotic in the future to the remaining bacteria that are still alive. So every time you take an antibiotic, you're literally breeding some resistant gut bugs in your gut. So some of them will be left behind with the information of how to survive the antibiotic the next time. And that's why there are so many people who then have infections that can't be remedied anymore by antibiotics. And that's why it's so dangerous. A lot of people get into hospitals where there are a lot of these resistant bacteria floating around. Then you get an infection you can't heal and you're already in a sick, compromised state. Then you can literally die from these. And also your immune system needs a chance to heal things by itself. And so how we do things here at The Conscious Gut at my company is we use botanicals. And bacteria have this way of communicating with each other through a process called quorum sensing. And there's a very good TED Talk if you're interested in this subject. It's called How Bacteria Talk. And that lady goes very into detail why it is so important to know how bacteria interact and what they actually do. They're actually like building a town, and they're assigning, not people, but they're assigning some of them are responsible for going out getting food. Others are responsible for building shelter around them, which is called the biofilm, which is, my door just shut. The biofilm around a group of bacteria that prevents your immune system from being able to get in there. So they communicate with each other in a very sophisticated way. And so one way of getting rid of your bacteria is with antibiotics, because then you just nuke out everything. But you also destroy your good gut bacteria, which you actually need in order to train and strengthen your immune system. So oftentimes what we experience when we take antibiotics is that, yes, the current thing goes away for a little bit, but often it comes back because, remember, you have bred these resistant strains, then some of them are still in there. You are weakening your immune system because the remaining good bacteria also nuked out, and your immune system didn't have the chance to get strengthened and to train itself to get rid of these bugs that you wanted to get rid of itself. So then you're either more susceptible to other infections. So in the past, when I've taken antibiotics, I've always gotten sick right after. You know, maybe the one thing that I took them for, I had chronic strep throat a lot. So sometimes that's something I took antibiotics for when I didn't know any better. Yeah, and then I just got a flaring, terrible cold right after because my immune system was so shot from the antibiotics. And that is why when we use the botanicals that we use in our plants and in our strategies, they work very differently because they don't just nuke out the whole population down there. They work very much with how the bacteria interact. They work with the quorum sensing. A lot of these botanicals either cut the biofilm so that your immune system can go in there and do its work and kill the bacteria, or they work with interrupting the communication between the bacteria, which is basically like if you've ever worked with bees. I used to be a beekeeper, so this is a good one for me. But when you open the hive to look at if you have eggs and if the queen is still alive and how much honey they've collected so far, you smoke them because that gives them a sense of confusion and they don't know what's going on. And that is basically what these botanicals can do too. And then they are not able to collect food. They're not able to build up the biofilms again. So then your immune system has to be the one to kill those gut bacteria or those bad bacteria, that the pathogens that you want to get rid of, or else it's not long term and you don't benefit from it. So when you do need antibiotics in your life is when you have a very threatening illness and it looks like your body would not be able to get rid of it itself. Then yes, and antibiotics have saved many, many lives, and modern medicine does so every day. But it's very important that we understand more when it is a time and a place to strengthen your immune system and go through some discomfort and be able to overcome something yourself. And we're just dealing with discomfort that we want to get rid of quicker. Or when it's the case of we really need an antibiotic because something is really specific or really, really dangerous and life-threatening. So this is how we breed resistant bacteria. And the other thing is every time we take a bacterium, so you might already know this, but in our gut, we don't just have good bugs or bacteria and pathogenic bacteria. We also have a lot of other things like parasites that are also not just worms, but protozoa, which is much more bacteria-like, but they fall under the category of parasites. But also a lot of yeasts, beneficial yeasts and non-beneficial yeasts. And one of the most common ones there is Candida, which I've dealt with for so many years, and it was no fun. And I finally got to it, several years ago, and I've been good since, but it's been a maintenance. And I know that's one of my weaknesses. But the thing is, the gut bacteria, they keep the Candida in check and the other yeasts too. But when you regularly or even just sometimes wipe out the entire population of the gut bacteria, then the Candida and all the other funguses have a chance to grow. And that's often where Candida infections take over. Women get a lot of yeast infections in our private parts. There's a lot of oral thrush that can happen when your whole mouth is white. Toenails, fingernail fungus, and athlete's foot. When those are happening, you know that a lot of yeast has overgrown in your body, and most likely you are experiencing a lot of Candida symptoms too, like bloating, terrible smelling gas, which is no fun, and I hate to admit it, but that was not very romantic when I had that in the past. And the fatigue and the brain fog that comes with it, and there's and the cravings, the sugar cravings, yeah. And when we do that with our gut flora, with our microbiome on a regular basis, or even just once a year, once every other year, the Candida, every time we do this, the non-beneficial or also maybe just neutral yeasts that we have in the gut, they just have a chance to take over more real estate than they're supposed to have. And in the same time, we keep up with our old habits and not really doing anything to make our gut bacteria, the good ones, thrive. So yeah, that's a recipe for overgrowth, basically. And then a lot of things come after that. We are already aware of, when you're in this group, you probably know that a lot of chronic illnesses are based on a non-functioning gut or a dysbiosis, which means an imbalance of some kind. And then more things are usually written in the stars for you. So this is what we're covering today. Gut bacteria and all bacteria talk. You need to make sure that you don't create resistances, and hit me up if you have any questions. I hope this was helpful. Take care. Bye.